top laner in the North American LCS. I think that's a very viable strategy. They could easily put Apollo back on something like Sivir and shift it around.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because Impact is pretty much... If Dyrus is the best at carry top laners, it would make him the best top laner right there. Zion Spartan plays some of the split push top laners and different top laners.
Right, that's Dyrus' opinion.
Yeah.
And obviously Zion is no slouch himself. Definitely debatable between the two. But red pick, CLG will have counter pick if they do choose to use it there.
Oh, and interesting, actually. Impulse banning away their own Alistair. It looks like CLG picked the exact same 3 bans. And that means it's a Braum pinch.
Yeah, that's actually something that Kiwi Kid was talking about. And Braum has risen in popularity very heavily since those small buffs to his laning phase. His roam is amazing, and we saw the effect that the slow from his Q can have, not only in level 1s, but also later into the game, pulling picks for the team.
Yeah, it was really critical in a lot of the late chases from CLG in their team fights in order to pick up those kills.
Yeah, he's also extremely good at protecting against multiple threats in a team fight for an AD carry, so if Apollo is having trouble, Braum laying down a huge slow field is a great zone control against melee threats, and then obviously unbreakable.
And we'll see what they build around this one. CLG Gaming, meanwhile, happy to play the exact same team comps. They say, all right, you're not allowed, at least in Italy. Don't care about the rest. Smithy's learned the Echo. We want to play it every single time. We are on 5.14 and will be for the rest of the playoffs here. So this is, you know, the whole giant shield Echo and all that stuff in case you guys are wondering over at home. Still the same patch as last time around. And Smithy happy to play this champion.
Yeah, incredibly high priority on the Echo for CLG, but I also think that's because they're putting more of an emphasis on counterpicking. Yep. I mean, with all the huge power picks that are potentially in the meta right now, the fact that they've picked it in their first chance of picks in both of these games either displays that they want to pick more diverse things for the solo laners, or that Xmithy just doesn't have other champions.
Well, it just brings so much team fight power. You can see they even didn't pick the Gragas this time around, which is what a lot of people were thinking Smithy was going to go to, just because he's had so much success on it, and it was even banned in the first game, but this time around goes through and opts for Echo instead.
And Ridley Impulse, actually, despite the talk about carry top laners, they're playing the exact opposite style. Impact, one of the best top laners in North America.
Yeah.
Top lane carries becoming more and more common. They're like, no, you have your style. We have ours. Shen game 1, Maokai game 2.
And it's interesting that for the first time in 5 games, they themselves decide not to go with Shen, when it's been such a hallmark of their playoffs thus far.
Yeah.
And this is an incredibly CC-focused early composition. It's quite low damage. They're going to need to get a lot of damage in and put Gate probably on a slightly more carry role unless they're going for a mid-game snowball.
Yeah, and Azir's banned, which was what Gate was able to have the biggest effect so far on. So,
you know what's weird? This comp looks like a Yasuo comp. As much as Xiao Wai's not on this team anymore, these are all really good Yasuo synergy champions.
It's also really similar to an LMQ comp that they ran in the playoffs last year. This is probably a little bit off topic, but when they played in the third place game to come back on Curse and reverse sweep them, they had Braum, Maokai, Ori in like 3 games in a row, and Kha'Zix as their jungler because it was just a death tank ball that rolled around. They could do something very similar here if they want to put Gate on Orianna, something he's played in the past.
Well, this is going to be interesting. We'll see if that ends up being that champion. Meanwhile, a couple more picks come down the line. Nar comes through for Zion Spartan after seeing the Maokai. He wants that matchup even with the Olaf up. And also, after going down to Thresh, and it's just Protect the Vayne.
Yeah, somewhat of a death ball, but honestly, this is lowish on damage. We'll see if CLG would need to find a way to get onto Vayne, otherwise that is a threat.
Well, all right, I mean, Orianna themselves.
CLG, they have so much AoE. It's not even, like, as long as they get in the vicinity of Vayne, and then they're able to do Echo, Nar, and Orianna. Vayne is great at navigating team fights and working around zones of control, but that is a huge amount of area of effect for her to try and deal with.
I would say on the spectrum of champions, though, none of them have point-and-click disables, which is a really big deal for being Vayne.
That's sort of the hard counterplay there.
Maokai's and Kha'Zix's and stuff are just like actually really difficult to deal with for her. So on the spectrum, I think is actually decent for Vayne. But you're right, it's all on Apollo, and he did not have a very good game 1.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to watch the choke points. Fighting in the jungle would be disastrous for them.
Definitely.
Here we go with game 2.
And Freak, I just think it's so interesting that Impulse is falling back on Apollo as a carry threat so readily.
Yeah.
When really that was not the style they played at all with Xiao Xiao. Obviously, they had the 2 weeks to practice before quarterfinals, but they're really respecting and trusting Apollo to carry here. Vayne's not something he's played in the LCS, especially in the summer split. So this is bold.
Also, Impulse are going to have to get team fight victories. Not only is there a lot of weight on Apollo's shoulders to carry, but they do not have good siege. So, you know, they have wave clear if they have to hold off on turrets and they want to try and split push with a Vayne or something like that. But it's going to have to be neutral objective control for Impulse. See if they can get, ward coverage around the Dragon early, try and start stacking those up. Whereas CLG are going to try and knock down turrets early here with double lift.
So let's do the case. And I was actually talking with Kiwi Kid before this show started, and he said, one, that he really wants to see Afremu play a lot of Thresh. He's been seeing him play in solo queue. He really respected it. He was very good at the champion. So he's happy to see him back on this one. But also, he was saying specifically, Thresh is a pretty good matchup in a Braum just because you have the ability to kind of mess with him and poke at him a bit. So as far as the matchup itself goes, I think CLG definitely favored in the 2-on-2. You guys said in the pregame, CLG's lane swap is also incredible. So early game might be very hard for Impulse.
Yeah, something we didn't get to touch on last game was the fact that Team Impulse managed to match CLG's lane swapping and not opt into that game. It was one of the main reasons that Team Impulse was able to pull ahead in the early game. That first match also had back-to-back jungle invades by CLG and had a very kind of impromptu, improvised early game, whereas this one seems a lot more standard and also not disrupted in any way. Maokai got to prep his camp with Sapling. Rush got a very free start, pulling to give him the level 2.
Yeah,
and CLG is doing the double jungle.
The duo actually helping Rush out and giving him that leash. Whereas up top, double lift and Afremu won't be able to freeze just because they started the Krugs and probably start shoving that down early on Tristana. This should definitely be an early roam from Afremu.
Yeah, he's already recalling.
Looks like he's going for some wards.
And he was given full level 2, by the way. He took the entire set of the
What does Rush
Krugs.
have planned here? He did 2 small camps. And now they're going for an invade.
I think they're going to be late, though. I think they wanted to cut off CLG.
Well, this is their strong side, so they do have the Adrian support coming in. And we talked about Braum's level 1 threat with just the Q.
So much time wasted there. Adrian and Impact went to the mid lane, but Kobolter was so far back already. Deadlift already pushing into this lane, making a lot of waves. And the thing is, Zion and Afro are already ready to defend the bottom turret, and they could get all this XP.
Yeah. Not able to get the gank off mid, not able to get the counter jungling. That camp, Smithy was able to get the wolves and get out in time. So CLG, once again, able to come out with early lead in the lane swap. Zion also on Gnar. Does have the range for him to work with here for easy CSing. Very actually dangerous for Apollo. Afremu and Zion not going aggressive though because they don't have any deep wards. Not quite sure where Adrian is.
Defensive pink there. That'll make sure they can get down the river at some point. If he fights the scuttle. Looks like life's good for him.
Smithy actually did a good amount of farming in the early game, much different than game 1. He's got a 200 quick gold lead on Rush. So he has a little bit more freedom now to go around and gank if he chooses or extend his lead. One thing I do know is that CLG heavily respects Rush's Lee Sin. Whenever they've scrimmed against Team Impulse, they always talk about how Rush can just GG them in like so many games because he's played Lee Sin against them. Maybe that's given them a certain level of comfort against it. In an interview, Rush said CLG doesn't know how strong his Lee Sin in Italy is, which pretty much gets said in every single interview Rush has. He just says, if they let me play Lee Sin, I'm going to win. But he has been allowed to play Lee Sin. And the early game, they missed on their one gank, and Smithy's farming up pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it's another incentive to lane swap when you are facing an early game champion like Lee Sin, and especially a player like Rush. Confining him to the jungle. The lane's a lot more difficult to get an even scenario. Rush really likes to get the either 2-on-2 duo fight or even singling out the enemy jungler.
This is
if he
big
gets the
trouble
2 versus
for
1 though, that's even better. Impact able to land a snare easily.
All right, Doublelift, how good are you getting away from this one? Rush staying off of the side. There's the rocket jump away. Doublelift does have flash.
He's got a flash.
Can he dodge the Q? No! That's the first blood. Well done. Could not predict. And that is first blood for Rush.
Yeah, Doublelift was getting a little cheeky with his harassment under turret. Should not have really been in Twisted Advance range to begin with. But then the extension of that fight was just an outplay by Rush and an attempted clever flash by Doublelift that just wasn't quite executed properly.
Yeah, no vision there for Doublelift, and CLG able to delay the effect of Rush's early game Lee Sin with the lane swap, but eventually finds first blood there. That's able to bring back the gold to almost even though.
Yeah.
So still pretty worth for CLG.
Mid lane's winning really heavily right now. It's a 10 minion lead right now, about 200 gold worth. And it kind of goes that way down the line.
Yeah. Rush straight into the early brutalizer though, as usual for him. Always picking up his combat stats first, so he's going to look to fight once again. The only question is where.
Yeah, so much for the lane swap. Doublelift without summoner spells needs the protection of a Thresh. So there.
He leaves his items for now.
Yeah, he has the slight pickaxe advantage there, but Apollo got a lot of the...
Yeah, got a lot of farm.
So he's fine.
At least Vayne Brom's not exactly that threatening, so Doublelift is okay here unless there's a crazy, crazy good dive that happens. Doublelift should be able to let his cooldowns come back up without too much threat in this line.
Yeah. And, you know, judging where... Smithy going to go in for an invade as Rush sees him just in time, doesn't start the Grom. Pretty sure he should have seen the ward animation go there.
He doesn't
as well.
know. He
doesn't know what
it's
color
a pink,
it is.
though. Yeah,
I don't
If
think
it was
he
a
checked the
pink, it would
inventory in
appear
time.
right away.
So interesting there, yeah. Rush right now waiting around on Tri-Brush. Of course, he got spotted, so there's no reason for Zion to play aggressively.
Well, so the thing is, he's looking for a counter gank here. He just saw Smithy, so he's waiting around. Smithy, though, showing himself here. Rush knows there's no counter gank, goes over to do the Gromp instead.
Good flash by Gate, good pull into Adrian, actually. They nowhere to be seen. She'd already recalled. Adrian loses a lot of health. No dive quite available. But now that lane's going to get really difficult. It gives even more time for Doublelift to stay safe here. Pickaxe versus Bilgewater Cutlass. Still not exactly a threatening lane to be against.
No, definitely not. Laning phase is definitely slowed down a little bit here. Rush, though, finishes his warrior enchantment. He's going to be looking to make a play. One of the big differences in this game is actually Cobelter is laning over Gabe, which is quite impressive considering the attempted four-man roam by Team Impulse. One of the big strengths of Orianna is the strong laning phase, but obviously Cobelter doing a nice job harassing this one.
Yeah, and this lane is all about farm, you know. Lulu versus Orianna.
Unlikely
Exactly
to see
dangerous. Exactly. So, Impulse actually taking advantage of the recall timers here for Doublelift. You know, Apollo coming back straight with his purchase. They're able to shove him out of lane and take the dragon because of it. So first blood and dragon over to Team Impulse.
And the matches are going better as well. When we last checked the first blood money, it was about 100 gold down for TIP. Now it's about 100 gold up. So things are evening out, which is kind of nice for them. We'll see if they can put any more pressure in, of course. There's still only one major damage threat come late game. So Impulse, I feel like, might need to get themselves much farther ahead than they are right now. See if that ends up being true. Rush goes away a ward in his jungle.
It's so interesting that that pink ward remained unkilled for Rush. He never checked to see if it was pink. That's a high-value ward they're going to be getting in now. Almost lets them know that Rush will be kind of cheating the bottom side just because he's not in that blue side of his jungle.
It's definitely been the focus for CLG, both in the opening of the first game and in this game, trying to keep track of Rush, keep him down, jungle invading, some decent deep wards. The one in the bottom lane is actually pretty neat as well because you very rarely expect the ward with sight on Krugs. And Lee Sin does have lane ganking.
Flash ult to use to buy some time to knock around Impact, but I don't think it's going to be enough damage.
No.
Echo cannot reach, so Flash used for just some damage. Impact low, but he's got teleport up.
Yeah, so even though the jungler, looks like he's circling around.
Yeah, I mean, they have the pink ward, so they could theoretically see at least an approach. It seems like since Smithy got stopped on the pink ward that
Never finds it.
imagine
Should have found it.
he was looking at somebody else.
He's looking at Smithy.
Yeah, it's blind. No time for pink wards. He's going for a kill.
He walks right by him.
He's spotted. Well, this is still a flashless Gnar. Like, you make a good enough play. There's a flash kick and a Q. He's got it.
Oh my God.
Perfect play by Rush. He knew he could take it.
When you set your mind on something, Rush is going to do it.
Don't let your
Walks through a pink ward.
Don't let your dreams be dreams, chat.
Just do it.
Walk past pink wards, walk past enemy jugglers, walk straight up and kill him. All right.
Meanwhile, though, a fight in the bottom lane, and TP comes in for the recently healed off Impact. Good luck for CLG. Flash knockup comes through. They find Afromu. The help's coming through, but be careful because here comes Zion Spartan, and here comes Doublelift. The first kill comes through, and now Adrian regrets everything he's ever done in this game. Another kill comes through. CLG turns it right back around.
Yeah, that's matched teleports right there, but CLG had the superior 2-on-2. Honestly, the teleport of theirs came back later. The overall initiation of Team Impulse was a little bit slow in that, and absolutely they turn it right back around. The death doesn't really hurt Silent Spartan. Since his lane didn't get pushed, really all it did was give more gold to Rush.
He's not exactly known for his late game, so Sightstone's in, Warrior Enchant's there. He can put some impact on the map still, but Rush might have a lot more work to do. CLG pretty firmly in the lead.
Smithy back with the protection of his pink ward. Let's see if this lane swap is able to find him. Maybe Adrian will take the time out of his busy day to clear that pink ward. Nope, goes right by it. And Apollo primed for a dive here. Echo does have ultimate for the dive as well.
It's going to make things hard.
Really have to be worried about a counter gank, though.
I mean, he's got so much deep wards, and he's got the Wolf Spirit as well. Smithy was able to smite the Wolf Spirit during the counter jungling, so he would know if anyone was even in the quadrant of the map. They still do not decide to go for it.
What? Oh, do it. All right.
Things that should go through your head when you land a Lee Sin Q and you're thinking about going to the enemy jungle. Do I have vision of the enemy team? The answer was no. All 5 people could have theoretically been there, and it would have actually been an easy collapse for CLG if Rush had taken the Q.
All right. Of course. Let's see what else these guys can do. Gates are getting pushed around by Politzer a little bit. His blue buff has been gone. Adrian wants in, just gets the last hit here. Does not quite find any meaningful damage, but now Rush on the backside has his ultimate. He wants into this one. There's the reveal in for Doublelift. The double knockup goes through. Wow. Rush is still amazing at League of Legends. Ward hops in, can't quite get the damage. And now he's got to be real careful because the counter engage can come through. Echo with the 2-man stun. Double still getting the damage through. Ulti by Brown to buy some more time. They will stun up Smithy if they keep the hits coming. We get some damage, but not nearly enough.
Yeah, look, it was all because of the early roam there from Gate. Gate coming up first means that CLG had to back off down in the bottom lane. 2 tanks going head-to-head. Not exactly going to result in a kill, but always fun to watch the blows.
Rush was so far ahead of the team there on that dive. He did everything right, but the rest of Team Impulse just couldn't follow through in time to secure those kills. And it just kind of a split off there by CLG. No, the time invested on the dive isn't necessarily punished. CLG ends up sticking around.
Yeah, I mean, Gate with the earlier roam does come at the cost of even more CS advantage for Pobelter, though.
Yeah.
So while Gate was able to move up, Pobelter, the lead in mid lane is growing to be enormous.
35 right now and only 13 minutes in. The actual gold value is significant.
If he can land that shockwave,
it's going to hurt people.
It'll be a game changer for CLG.
It's interesting to note, by the way, that despite the lane swap advantage from CLG and the kill and assist that Zion got from his earlier teleport, Impact's actually winning the minion game in that top lane. He's actually winning in gold as well, so that's honestly quite impressive by Impact. He got counterpicked too. The Gnar came in after the Maokai.
It's definitely a favorable matchup. it's not a hard counter. Right?
No, of course not.
We actually
Just giving
have
credit where it's
we actually
due.
have almost no hard counters in League of Legends.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, Rush
Good
starting
war
off the
coverage by
Dragon.
Team
It's-
Impulse here.
Yeah, well, CLG going to come check him out.
Ding.
Zion sees what's up.
Ding ding, not ready
Fast
to
escape
fight.
for
Yeah,
Zion.
Outta
a
here.
little bit too much damage. All right,
Thanks
this
for-
actually is a great prep for CLG. The
Thanks
only
for
thing,
starting it up.
both AD carries are missing from this, but if the fight were to extend, Apollo would be there, and CLG doesn't actually know where Apollo is. So they're going to probably try and trade this dragon for a turret.
Yeah, it was kind of a bluff there, even though they don't have main in the area. The threat of Apollo coming down, able to be enough. Tristana up top though. You leave her alone with the turret, it's gonna go down pretty easily. It doesn't even have to use explosive.
He's
Charge.
trying to bounce as much as he can here.
I think just deny as
Just
many
denying what he
minions.
can,
I
yeah.
mean, it's not gonna bounce, but you can kill off as many of those minions as you can.
All right, and that melee goes down. It'll be the last minion to suicide here. And all is well now for Double Lift. That minion wave can be frozen. Likely will not, though, by impact.
Big for Double Lift to get solo experience and the farm because, he did have most damage dealt in the entire game last game on his Tristana. And the key member in that turnaround and victory in the last fight.
Honestly, Double Lift had a tremendous performance on Tristana, just from a statistical perspective. All season, it's been the mid laners doing all the damage, and Pobelter was propositioned to do so with the Victor, but it was actually Double Lift who did 41.5% of the team's damage and did 975 damage per minute on Trist.
Jeez.
Which is, and that was without the help of any type of hyper carry aid like Arden
no Zeke's, no
Sensor or
Sensor.
Zeke's Harbinger or Lulu. It was really all Double Lift. He had a tremendous game.
Yeah, and that's only damage to champions, the turret killing power that she brings as well. Pobelter going to get some turret killing done of his own. Pretty good chunk off of the mid lane here.
Yeah, the slow burn of mid lane getting worse and worse. 43 minions. Just gets scarier for Gate. Even though the Lulu will be useful kind of no matter what, it just kind of sucks to not have a mid lane threat here, especially when the rest of your team are playing supports. Apollo still no kills to his name. Just a death, sadly, for him. Wasn't able to quite knock down the bottom outer turret either, though that one is a bit low. That's about half.
And from a team composition perspective, Team Impulse kind of needs to capitalize on this mid-game power spike. They've been able to get the 2 initial dragons, but Blade of the Rune King completed on Apollo. They want to get the Lulu, Maokai, and Lee Sin in on the fights while they're still powerful, because CLG has all the potential AoE in those late-game team fights. Things could get messy if CLG maintains this type of gold lead and is able to sneak a dragon somewhere along the ways to prevent the 5 dragon to 0 snowball.
Yeah, that's why I was really highlighting the importance of the neutral objectives for Impulse. It's not like they can default to setting up a siege on one of these outer turrets. Until the outer turrets go down as well, they don't have a lot of territory to work with. So that dragon stacking, very important for them.
She was good so far. They got a ways to go to get any more on this one. Chronologic Gaming sitting in a 2,000 gold lead via largely a great landing phase of Pobelter. And a turret lead thanks to Double Lift. Mid lane gonna dodge the damage.
He's a full needlessly large rod ahead of Gate.
That is definitely rough. Okay, getting pressured on this mid lane outer, likely to die. There comes the attempt for the stun. Smithy does not quite find Gate. A bit of a counterattack here by Gate, and here comes Rush, but he misses the Q.
Yeah.
How could he do that?
It only cost Pobelter his flash, and he made a miss. There you go. Oh, Smithy also used his E.
Fair point.
I mean, Miss Smithy.
Smithy's actually kind of landed that
Hit
one.
that one. Hey! And he ward hops to dodge a frickin' boomerang.
That
He's
is
so
the-
good at this game.
That is the value of wards for Rush. I mean, Sights don't charge to stop at 80 damage.
And it slows them.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Correction, it's like 100. It's a lot of damage, more than 80.
He's got armor.
Anyway,
You're
though,
close to right.
CLG do only have one outer turret left standing, so I would expect some more focus down there after taking down the mid lane. They now try and get their vision in. With mid lane turret down, it opens up so many possibilities for the jungle plays.
Good amount of damage there on Zion Spartan, and Rush is approaching.
Yeah, he's definitely, he had to have been seen by that ward in Impulse's own tribal
I don't know if
setup.
Zion could safely hold this tower. He knows it.
All right, Impact slowly getting his way back into this one, even with Smithy around. Not going for the fight
Not
just
even gonna
yet.
get that
Turret's
free
very
gold.
low.
Ward expires.
I think he's going to time out fast enough that he didn't know if he could get it. Rush waiting in
I
the
wonder
wings.
if CLG's going to try and defend this. It's a 2v2 with their turret.
Definitely.
It'll be dicey.
Definitely don't want a mini Gnar for this 2 versus 2.
And Impact will do the same thing. He's going to try to deny some farm.
Rush could 100% a mini Gnar at this point.
You can see the threat. Oh, that was a big hook. But the turret still stands, so no chance to go in.
Man.
I know.
Only like 2 more autos on that turret as well.
You know, if instead of Aris Blade, he went for like a dagger,
Again,
the turret would have died.
Afromove's genius going to waste.
He'd also
down
have
there.
450 less gold.
Hey.
He's gained from the average plate.
It's okay, but he would have gotten 2 kills and paid it off. I'm wrong. I'm just kind of trolling here. But the bottom lane turret goes down. Counter Logic Gaming have knocked down the outer ring.
Just in time for Dragon as well. 45 seconds. They can go try and set up the vision around that Dragon. And CLG, this would be the one where they want to interrupt Impulse's control.
Yep. They've just hit a lot of really important power spikes. Death Cap completed by Pole Belter. Static Shiv for Double Lift. They are ahead of the curve as far as those items are concerned. Their only struggle would probably be killing Impact's Maokai if he can get a good initiation off. But Maokai is top lane right now without teleport. He's got to walk down manually, which kind of diminishes the flank potential. I think this is absolutely a Dragon CLG should be posturing for and trying to take.
They've got to buy 30 seconds. That's the disconnect between Dragon spawning and teleport being up. I don't think Impulse have the ability to easily do that. There's looks like really no waves in the mid lane, so not even a trade of objectives possible on that side of the map.
Rush at least could go for the steal here. He does have everything in his kit available.
They're getting the Dragon pretty low. This is absolutely a steal.
Sin can go, he gets it! But now, how can he get anything else? Smith in the front line, pop steal that heals back up. Adrian has got to run with the shock on him, and he's going to go down. It's a 1-for-1 though. Vane's still getting some hits in, but there comes Gnar. Looks for a lot. Rush can only do so much, but oh my god! A double kill, and Apollo's still going. He's almost got the stacks on him though. He picks up his third. It's going to be close. A triple kill before he goes down the double lift. Impact tries. He gets the 4th of the fight, and it's time for the wet noodle fight in the top lane.
Let's see
Zion
who's really
Spartan
the best top lane
trying to
carry.
make the big plays. Here he goes. The Hyper still dealing damage. Is a coward and runs away. Impact's the king of the hill.
Well, the double buff helped Impact out a little bit, and the Frozen Heart. But honestly, that fight was a absolute bloodbath. And the most critical thing about that,
Dragon.
beside the trade of 4 kills each, is the Dragon. 3 Dragons to 0, not having the 6% attack damage and ability power for CLG in what was a very close team fight will be even more important later on in the game.
Let's take a look at this again, because we keep talking about the few seconds where there's a numbers advantage. Impulse, once again, 5 versus 4. That was actually even 2 full seconds there before Zion shows up. He comes in at the end, though, is able to get the kill, and is able to jump into the pit.
And a couple more things about this fight. Apollo was pretty much untouched for most of it, and Rush is a wizard on Lee Sin right there. Zion Spartan thought he was going to be closing him down, but he managed to juke all the way around and still contribute damage at the end of the day. Yeah, triple kill for 180 carry, double kill for the other, but considering it's a protect the Vayne composition, Apollo getting the 3 kills there is tremendously important for Team Impulse.
I mean, yeah, Dragon stacking, huge to get that number 3. The movement speed, not too shabby as well for Impulse.
Yeah, both these AD carries now on 2 completed items is a big deal. Apollo did not have anything but a Zeal. So to do more work in double lift was really important there.
CLG still with the gold lead, though.
Very true.
And Double Lift is now got his crit multiplier for Tristana. Full Belter not able to carry that last team fight.
3-man shockwave as well.
It was great. I mean, again, you want to. A few seconds of a numbers advantage is just so much.
Yeah.
In terms of these mid-game team fights where it's really swingy. And Impact, not only was he there earlier, but he had the 2 completed giant items. Frozen Heart is just such an efficient item buy with the giant AoE attack speed slow at this stage in the game. Reduces so much of CLG's damage.
And the weird thing is actually CLG itemizing a little bit magic resist heavy. You're seeing Merc Trez already done here for Smithy. You've got, I think probably the makings of an Aegis are likely next for one of these guys' inventories. Whereas the Frozen Heart Rush for Impact really just denies a lot of what Doublelift wants to do. So we can kind of see the defensive itemization also allowing certain players to do better than they would otherwise. Definitely relevant here. Still no death cap yet for Gate. That was done for the last fight already for Pobelter. The value of minion farm, of course, showing itself here. Impact taking a lot of damage.
Yep. Zion making use of that Black Cleaver. Oh, Echo.
You really want Sin. A little bit of damage comes through, but Impact is nowhere else to go. He gets the Summoner heal. He will survive the explosive charge. Not a big problem. Zion low, but close to Mega Gnar.
Yeah, they still used a lot to keep him alive. That's a Braum ult, an Exhaust, and a Lulu ultimate, whereas it pretty much just cost Doublelift a shot backwards.
So Zion, most of his health bar.
That was fun.
Getting it back up now off the recall. Scuttle goes over to Counter Logic Gaming. And they remain 2.8 thousand gold up. Make that 2,000 as the mid lane turret goes down. Impulse finally trading some of these.
Yeah.
But still a gold disparity.
Each of those outer turrets is huge for Impulse, though. Not only to get that global gold back in order for themselves, but also open up the terrain in which they can actually have those team fights. Remember, they really want to avoid the small corridors versus CLG comp. So more outer turrets being down gives them more options. And they can just wait till the next dragon pops up. Go for number 4.
See what they can get for themselves. 1 minute and 30 seconds. Posturing for position and vision. Gonna be what we're gonna be watching for here. TIP's vision, none of it really passes the river. CLG actually have a couple of half-decent wards. There's one on the backside of mid that helps them a slight bit. But so far, be the team with the most amazing deep vision. We'll see if they can get that in the next 60 seconds.
No Evelyn in this game, no Shen. The deep vision has been a slight bit deprioritized when compared to the last game. Also because the outer turrets have been taken somewhat systematically. It hasn't been very much about forcing team fights or getting turret dives. This game is really coming down to this ever-imposing 5th dragon and Team Impulse trying to take advantage of the
Zion
at this point
cornered,
in the game.
and he's exhausted. Can't go Mega. Uh-oh.
Well, at least he makes the big play with his teleport there. The kick is already down, but Vane's got condemned. Nowhere for Zion Spartan to go. What a good timing for a kill. He's dead for the duration of Dragon respawning.
Yeah, talk about the lack of deep warding, and then you split push and get too far ahead of yourself. Rush has so much mobility, they're able to catch him.
Ooh, CLG did not go for the Baron rush themselves. It would have been the other team, the rest of the team being very far away from it.
There is Impulse pink ward on it as well.
Yeah.
They
look for mid, get nothing.
This is a very big moment in the game, though. The death timer on Zion Spartan, while it's close to Dragon, is desynced by 3 seconds. So if Team Impulse starts the Dragon and CLG wants to start a fight, Zion could teleport in, but again, it would create that very small timing window of a numbers advantage, which is so important in these team fights you mentioned, but they're getting closer and closer to the late game now.
Plus coming
Here's
out
the
of the
TP's
fountain, you have
coming
no
in.
rage.
They dodge the hook. The True Bolt's coming in towards
early for
Doublelift.
CLG.
A lot of damage coming in. There's Impact. Now who's going to go down? Rush staying alive. The Q comes back in. He goes for Afro move. There's 2 kills so far. The Shaka turns a bit around, but it's 3 kills picked up. CLG with a bad fight.
Zion revives, but not enough time there. The teleport channels and 2 members of CLG already dead. Easy sweep there for Impulse. That's going to be Dragon number 4, unless there's some crazy, ridiculous
It's 4.
boomerang steal.
It's 4. That was a very poor call by CLG in the moment. The Dragon was the objective, and they were already cutting it close with whether or not Zion Spartan could make it into a Team Impulse forced fight. CLG forced a fight way earlier than they had to, even to begin with. The teleports were obviously matched before Zion Spartan was even
I
alive,
thought she was alone.
and they didn't have the perfect number. Like, even if she is alone, it's a Vayne with stealth up. Like, they didn't have a
Valid.
pink ward to stop those things. The rest of Team Impulse arrives, Impact zones out. Zion came in behind, but he realized it's a lost cause and never gets in on the fight.
The timing was bad. The prep was bad. Even the area that they chose to fight in was bad. Again, so much open area for Vayne to move around. Big win there for Team Impulse. And after that, they're able to regroup almost all the gold difference. So they're set up very well.
This puts a lot of threat in the game now. Dragon 5 is only 4.5 minutes away, but it's right as Gate and Impact start being smaller damage threats. As defenses come in, those guys become less and less of an issue, and it becomes more and more about Apollo for the fight coming in 4 minutes.
Yeah, and he's still going for not a hyper late game Vayne build, but a very move speed heavy kind of take over the game type build. Ghostblade completed from his Brutalizer. He's going to be very, very fast, which is critical since, as we mentioned, CLG doesn't have a single point and click to slow down the Vayne. If he is playing these fights optimally, he could wreak havoc.
The first 6 seconds of that battle is going to be so much damage, lightning Neoma's move speed and the attack speed. CLG waiting on the sides. Impulse have to be a bit careful. They have all ultimates on both sides.
Yeah, they're trying to draw them into the center of the lane. CLG did do a pretty decent job of getting vision control of the Baron area.
Yeah, and it's still a tremendously close game. It's actually in CLG's benefit to try and get picks as long as they don't overexpose themselves somewhere. The gold is close, and the 5th Dragon hasn't given amazing power. It's Impulse because Double shows himself.
Bit of CC on Double. Shotgun catches the few. Gate's still safe in the back line, and no stun comes out. Now Meganar comes in. He finds Adrian, but Apollo is still safe. A lot of damage done to both front lines here, and Adrian cannot find enough damage to get enough room to get damage in, rather Apollo. And we still trade back and forth with no kills coming through. I'm still watching for Vayne, as well as Double Tristana.
By himself. Can they land a
White
slow?
finding targets. Gate misses the Glitter Lance.
Nobody going down right there. Good disengages by both tanks.
Yeah, and
Adrian and Zion both escape.
you'd want to look at who exposed more summoner spells and ultimates in that fight. I mean, every ultimate used from CLG,
Impulses are lower cooldown.
pretty much every ultimate for Team Impulse, but a slightly lower cooldown. Gate saved his summoner spells entirely. There's still a flash on Apollo, so he was hardly threatened whatsoever.
3 flashes saved by Impulse.
That's
Yeah,
the
pretty big.
biggest thing is the flash on Apollo, whereas Double will have neither summoner spell for the next fight. But remember, before that skirmish broke out, CLG put in the work to gain this vision advantage around Baron. Adrian's going to go take it out, though. It does cost Gate a huge chunk of his life.
That's something that CLG can threaten. Lulu's a big part of this team composition. Unless she can stay safe, she might have to go back and heal. Half HP Lulu's not the most threatening champions.
Yeah, you want to be at full HP so that you can use all of your defensive spells on your carries rather than wasting them on yourself.
But it gives CLG enough room to once again control Baron Nashor. There is no vision outside of blue trinket usage for Team Impulse.
We're also potentially going to see an Aegis-free game in this one. Looks like Afram was actually going for the Harbinger because he wants Doublelift to be able to take out people in shorter windows of time, and they're not really respecting the magic damage that Gate and Impact are going to bring to the fight. I actually kind of like that decision.
I would like the extra crit for Double Lift because then he can just rush into his Last Whisper right now and peek really hard.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what his next item goes for. If it's another Cloth Armor, if it's an Amplifying Tome, we'll know which way he's going. Frozen Heart would hurt Apollo. Zeke's would help Double Lift.
And honestly, as long as we're on the topic of whether or not you should go Zeke's or Harbinger on the support in this game. I think Adrian should do the same thing.
Oh, I'd rather
If he
Gate do
could-
it.
Gate could do it as well. Do the old Alex each, build the Harbinger as your next
super
item.
On
good.
mid lane Lulu, I definitely love Harbinger. Especially since he already has the main AP core items.
Right. Death Cap plus Zeke's is actually a crap ton of ability power.
For the purpose of this composition, though, it seems like Team Impulse should be going towards it. No look of that yet, not even the start of one.
Speaking of no look, almost all the wards expiring for CLG. They're going to have a hard time renewing those. Only one pink ward left on the map and a single green. There in the mid lane left.
Only
It's
two
not-
Sightstone
it's
charges
not
left on
in,
Smithy and
yeah.
Afro.
So they're going to have to go back, and the lack of wards are going to cost them recalls.
And it's 50 seconds until Dragon is up at this
Oh,
point
man.
for 5th Dragon.
Both teams should actually be moving their vision
Afro's gotta
over
rush.
to that side of the map. 40 seconds, they have to do that. Plus, this is the optimal time to take the scuttler. This is a very important rift scuttler. You'll have the shrine speed boost for that fight. It's gigantic. They're actually going to leave it.
And well, here's what's interesting though: is Impulse can choose Dragon or Baron, and CLG can't give either away cleanly. If you give away Dragon for Baron, you're screwed. If you give away Baron for Dragon, you're also screwed.
Definitely.
CLG is going to have a hard time controlling both.
All right. Huge rift scuttler. The speed boost will be up almost the entire duration.
And they've got a
Fight
minute of
around.
vision now after Dragon spawns. CLG are there first.
In this situation, I think the Dragon is far more important than Baron. The first Dragon and the 5th Dragon are both super important. It's 34 minutes. I think the Baron would just be a secondary objective. It's definitely about the Dragon, and you can see both teams are on the same page.
Gold dead even here heading into this fight.
Impact his home guard.
Yeah, he's actually going back to base for the home guard TP, which is the correct play.
They
Although
see
he
it.
doesn't get the flank behind them.
But he might get to the front line. Here comes the E in, and who's going to be taking the damage here? Shotgun catches only Adrian, and Apollo goes for damage. He's got a lot of hits onto Smithy. Impact so far is okay. Pobelter kills off Adrian. That's one kill picked up. There's the disengage of double kills. Lee Sin falls, and finally the trade. But he goes down. The triple kill. Pobelter doing all the work in this one, and the slow comes in towards Impact. Will they go for any more, or will it be the Dragon? It's going to be at least the team fight, a
They
3-for-1 for CLG.
That fight was all about the front line for CLG. Apollo was trying to zip around. He had all the move speed on Vayne, but he could never get into the priority targets, and it allowed CLG to set up the front line with the Orianna shields and just get their damage off in a safe fashion. Front line taking all the threat, and Tip just couldn't get in there.
Plus, they know that Impact doesn't have teleport now, so they switch over to Baron, and they're going to
gonna
have
get
to
this.
walk all the way up. CLG able to stop the 5th Dragon as well as pick up Baron.
Oh man, Impulse just were not able to pinch Baron to keep CLG honest. CLG get the Dragon fight, they get the Baron afterwards off of winning it, and Counter Logic Gaming now back in the lead.
Yeah, this is such a series right now. Both games have been really close. This game has been even closer. That last fight,
Not able to utilize the home guards to their advantage. Plus, then Afro move starts it off by getting the hook. So they just started Dragon. Rush was on the other side. Smithy as well is going to zone Apollo, and he actually gets a pretty good ult here. Rush goes in for the kick and kicks him over.
But Smithy just ults out.
Ults right back out. Double lift stays safe the entire time. Pobelter on the fed Orianna stays safe the entire time. Rush not able to kick a high priority target over to Vayne for the execution. Smithy being able to ult right back out, and it's all about double lift and Pobelter being able to DPS the entire fight there.
yeah, really, none of them taking damage. And it's the respect from all the AoE that CLG has that prevented Apollo from getting in for the big time damage. Also the fact that he has no Last Whisper, no Infinity Edge. They had that mid-game power spiking build, but their 5th Dragon has been cut off. So now they are playing actually really far from behind. So I think has a massive advantage right now, assuming they play the fights properly and don't give Vayne or Maokai a flank.
Got a ton of siege power. Mid lane tier 2 is going to go down. You've got shields for a Tristana. Good luck getting through her. 1,000 damage crits on minions. And they're right back in.
They got the Harbinger as well, so if Doublelift gets the right proc time, it's going to be lights out for whoever he hits.
Oh man, yeah, it's going to be pretty rough, certainly. Mid lane inhibitor now down half HP on that turret. Baron buff still going to last for about a minute, I think. And they can try again. Here comes the new minion wave. Hooks looked for Afro, not quite going to find him. Push one more time in. Goodbye turret. Into the inhibitor they go. Impulse could not possibly stop this one. They've got to back out and wait. And now an inhibitor is dead, and that will come back after Dragon respawns and at the same time that Baron comes back up. Very clutch timings there. CLG will continue to have map control.
Yeah. That might be the breaking point there for CLG, not being able to take that fight. Very hard for this kind of squad to come back in the game without a misstep from CLG. Yep. Impulse are going to have to use a mistake from CLG against them. They want to turn this back around.
Last game with Baron buff, Team Impulse was in this exact spot on the map. They overdove. Their AD carry took turret shots and they lost the advantage. Not today for CLG. Controlled push. Don't think about diving. Team Impulse wasn't in the right position. So really entirely different situation. But CLG playing safe, going for inhibitor number 2.
Look at all these. Go. Wow, so much damage. There comes the engaging, the diving, Impact taking so much damage. Zion Spartan hops away, Double gets the first kill. There's the re-engage by Adrian, gets pulled right back in. He goes down, a double kill for Doublelift. Another turret goes down. What else can he find? He won't quite kill off Rush, but he will get the second inhibitor.
Yeah, 2 inhibitors down really easy. Just blew up Impact as he got baited in for his Twisted Advance. You could tell Team Impulse was kind of lost for things to do right now.
Oh, the Flash Meganar, and they catch up to him. And they're going to drop down Rush, and now how much exactly can Apollo do? Looks like not nearly enough. More damage coming out from the team. Counterlogic Gaming trying to pick off Gate. They go back to the turrets here, and it's going to be Nexus turret number 1, Nexus number 2, and game number 2. Counterlogic Gaming are 1 win away from their first ever North American